Grisha let out a low laugh. Hey, it seems that I have been discovered. The next second, he moved and appeared right in front of Tang Mo. His blue eyes stared at Tang Mo. The two of them were very close. Tang Mo might be prepared but he was caught off guard by the cane striking his knees. He took 3 steps back and staggered. On the other side, Fu Wenduo attacked with a cold expression. No one expected that Grisha would still be comfortable despite being besieged by Tang Mo and Fu Wenduo. He was like a nimble fish that swam away from the attacks of the Tang Mo duo. Fu Wenduo swept his right leg, forcing Grisha to take a few steps back. Tang Mo took the opportunity to remove the big match from his wrist. He snapped it against the ground to ignite the flames and then smashed it towards Grisha's head. There was a loud sound as the black cane was raised and blocked the huge match. This scene looked a bit comical. The cane that Grisha held was thin and short. Tang Mo made every effort to push the big match down but the short cane was extremely stable. However, Tang Mo's purpose had been achieved. His eyes narrowed as he saw the flames on the big match touching Grisha's short cane. The flames were about to ignite the short cane when Tang Mo became dismayed. It isn't ignited. There was a laugh. Mosaic's big match? This is really a good item. As long as it is ignited, the law of causality will keep it burning. Tang Mo's expression instantly became cold. Grisha recovered his short cane and tapped it against the ground. My lady, the little girl's match is excellent. It is delicious to use when roasting a big turkey. This is on the premise that it can be ignited. As long as it isn't ignited, Grisha's voice stretched out before he continued, it is a piece of C.R.A.P. Tang Mo opened his small parasol to blow the blow and flew back. Grisha's laughter echoed in the steel fortress. His every blow seemed slow and graceful but they were horrifying to the extreme. Tang Mo took advantage of this opportunity to jump to the platform in the middle of the stairs. Tang Mo finally had time to catch his breath. He looked grim as he exchanged a look with Fu Wenduo. The two of them reached a consensus. Grisha was probably the most dangerous Black Tower monster they had encountered so far. Yes, he was a Black Tower monster, not a human. Inside the narrow steel fortress, Schrödinger and his it were hiding in the small room by the stairs. Tang Mo, Fu Wenduo and Grisha fought while Li Miao Miao and Zhao Ziafei weren't moving. It wasn't because they didn't want to dodge or to help. It was because the terrible pressure on their shoulders that made them sweat and unable to move. The black short cane pierced the steel wall. Grisha pulled it out and there was a huge opening in the wall. Fu Wenduo took the opportunity to stab Grisha's left hand. The red outfit was cut open and a hint of blood oozed from Grisha's arm. Grisha was slightly stunned. It looked at Fu Wenduo's arm that had changed into a black weapon. He smiled and was about to open his mouth when a scream was heard. B.A.S.T.A.R.D. Grisha, why are you breaking my fortress while trying to get your revenge? Grisha held his short cane and turned to look at the black cat. Lord Schrödinger, it is your castle that is too small. If it was a bit bigger then I might have caught this lovely friend a long time ago. The black hare's hair stood up. You B.A.S.T.A.R.D. You are the one misbehaving and ruining my fortress yet you are actually blaming me. They would have still found you without me. I didn't say anything to them. It was your fault Lord Schrödinger. Your acting is the worst I have ever seen. It is 10,000 times worse than Grandmother Wolf. Schrödinger cried out, you. In the dark hallway, the two female players were pale and their lips couldn't stop shaking. Zhao Ziafei was stunned when she saw Grisha and Schrödinger arguing. Grisha wasn't a player at all. He was a Black Tower monster. She frantically thought about who this person could be and why she met so many scary monsters when she was attacking the second floor. The second floor of the Black Tower shouldn't be so hard unless... Zhao Ziafei jerked her head and stared at Tang Mo and Fu Wenduo. Tang Mo wiped the blood from his lips. As Grisha spoke, Tang Mo took out mineral water and poured it on his wound. Zhao Ziafei could guess this meaning Tang Mo had long guessed it. Grisha came for them, or to be precise, for him. Grisha seemed to be teasing them since he was strong enough to take on both Tang Mo and Fu Wenduo. However, he wasn't in a hurry. He gave Tang Mo and Fu Wenduo a respite and bickered with Schrödinger. Li Miao Miao wanted to walk over to help Tang Mo heal but the short cane stabbed the wall in front of Li Miao Miao. Li Miao Miao gulped and was afraid to move. Schrödinger yelled, B.A.S.T.A.R.D. Grisha, if you break my wall again, I will report the tax evasion of your ragged circus to the king. Grisha blinked innocently and muttered, I am afraid of him. Grisha retracted the short cane and looked down at Tang Mo and Fu Wenduo. He stared at them for a moment before smiling. Two ladies, when did you find out? Tang Mo's lips tightened. A moment later, Grisha smiled. He turned to look at Li Miao Miao. Is it your human intuition? He remembered what Li Miao Miao had once said. It was clearly the same smile as before but this time Li Miao Miao became stiff and couldn't say a word. Schrödinger licked his paws and said, it is a balance created by the Black Tower. It would be unfair for you to perfectly integrate into this group of shameless humans. Yes, from the beginning, the players had felt a strange sense of incompatibility when they saw Grisha. It was an inexplicable sense of difference, regardless of his clothing or behavior. This was a convenience the Black Tower gave to the players. Tang Mo didn't know why the Black Tower let Grisha join the group of players to predict I.P.8 in the tower attack game. Yes, Grisha was different but this wasn't the answer he wanted. He raised his short cane and pointed at Tang Mo. He didn't realize because of the Black Tower. Schrödinger was stunned. Ah, it isn't the Black Tower. The middle-aged housekeeper also raised his head. Meow. Zhao Ziafi's eyes trembled violently as she stood close behind Grisha. A question emerged in her heart. She was eager to know who this terrible underground person really was, why he was here and what he wanted to do. However, her throat was blocked and she couldn't open her mouth at all. A qualified gentleman will answer a lady's questions. Grisha turned his head and winked at Zhao Ziafi. He knew Zhao Ziafi's thoughts. My lady, you must be wondering who I am. Zhao Ziafi's lips opened but no sound emerged. Grisha stated, I am a poor man. His voice was very wronged, like he was going to cry, but he was still smiling. 6 months ago, I caught 3 interesting monsters. I transported them back to the underground kingdom and made a lot of advertis.e.m.e.nts, ready to start a night of surprise. The tickets were all sold out, but before the night began, one of my monsters was stolen by a bad-hearted human. I lost a lot of money and nearly went bankrupt. Grisha wiped at tears that didn't exist. Schrödinger spat out in a sweet voice. Why are you pretending to cry? If it wasn't for Grandmother Wolf coming to watch your surprise night, you won't have even lost a dime. Grisha ignored him and continued, 3 months later, I caught the monster who escaped. This time I decided to dissect it to recover the loss. The entire underground kingdom and monster world were coming. It was a perfect program that I carefully prepared. I specifically hired the 2 best detectives in the underground kingdom and paid them a large sum of money to watch over the small monster. However, they let the small monster go in front of me, the underground people and the Black Tower monsters. Grisha's voice became hoa.r.s.e. Then I went bankrupt. Schrödinger muttered, you obviously didn't want to pay for the tickets and deliberately filed for bankruptcy. Grisha continued, my heart was divided into 3 because a total of 3 people made me lose money and go bankrupt. Then I found out that 2 of them were actually the same person. My lady, how could someone be so cruel? I'm innocent. I'm just trying to make money and run the best circus in the Black Tower world. He mercilessly broke my dream and trampled on my money. Zhao Ziafi felt that this reason was the key point. Tell me, how can I spare him? Head of the strange circus, Grisha Sykes. Tang Mo's voice was heard from behind Grisha. Grisha turned around and looked at him. After a long time, he laughed. Then, Tang Mo, when did you find out it was me? Was it when I asked the truth clock about how I could make a lot of money? Tang Mo shook his head. Grisha wondered, was it when I said that my heart was divided into 3, 2 for you and 1 for Fu Wenduo, the most popular stowaway in the Black Tower? No, Grisha's eyes narrowed. Tang Mo clutched the small parasol and took a deep breath. It was after the Black Tower released the main mission. No one expected this answer. Schrödinger directly asked, how can it be? Indeed, how could it be? There was no mention of the strange circle in the rules for Schrödinger's hide-and-seek game. How could Tang Mo guess this? Grisha smiled, his voice very cold. My lady, lying isn't the behavior of a good child. Not even Santa Claus would like lying children. Are you attacking the Black Tower's 2nd floor? A male voice was heard as Fu Wenduo stared at Zhao Ziafi. Zhao Ziafi was startled and nodded stiffly. Fu Wenduo stared calmly at Grisha and pulled out a seemingly simple knife. He replied casually, she is the 2nd floor of the Black Tower and Li Miao Miao is the 3rd floor of the Black Tower. There should be a difference between the main missions of the 2 people, but we won't know unless she says it. But I know what Li Miao Miao's mission was and the rules of the game. Grisha stared at Fu Wenduo. Fu Wenduo told him, after the game rules were announced, I privately asked Li Miao Miao about her rules and her mission. It was exactly the same as Out's. Grisha asked, so? Tang Mo spoke this time. The mission for the Black Tower's 4th floor is exactly the same as the 3rd floor. This isn't the style of the Black Tower. Fu Wenduo and I should have other difficulties. Schrödinger asked, this makes it clear that Grisha is the head of that ragged circus. It isn't that hard. First of all, Fu Wenduo and I are attacking the 4th floor. Secondly, we teamed up to attack the tower. The Black Tower should increase the difficulty. This difficulty, I couldn't imagine what it was for a while. Then there was a teammate who dresses strangely and says weird things. Tang Mo spoke calmly, he wants to make a lot of money, his heart is divided into 3, 2 for me and 1 for Fu Wenduo. Tang Mo looked up. In the Black Tower world, there is only one person who would hate me so much. Grisha smiled. Tang Mo stared at him coldly. So what do you want? I'm just trying to make up for my loss. My lady, you caused me to go bankrupt. Schrödinger murmured, you aren't bankrupt at all. Grisha turned a deaf ear. I have been feeling very wrong these days. I originally just wanted to catch 1 person and didn't expect to buy 1, get 1 free. The 2 of you actually came together. Grisha stroked the short cane. He was smiling but there was no warmth in the smile. He looked coldly at Tang Mo and Fu Wenduo standing at the bottom of the stairs. 2 strong human players and one of them is the most popular stowaway in the Black Tower world. If I sell you to the banana pub to be turned into banana wine, how much will you be worth? Tang Mo didn't answer. Grisha started to think again. Selling to the monster world is also okay. Those ugly monsters really want to eat you and they will definitely pay an excellent price. Tang Mo wondered, do you think we will be caught by you? Grisha laughed softly. My lady, you know the answer. Do you think you can escape from my hands? Tang Mo and Fu Wenduo weren't a match for Grisha. This was a fact. The wound on his arm slowly became scarred and Tang Mo's hand stiffened. Grisha was always smiling and he was very relaxed because he was telling the truth. Tang Mo felt that Grisha hadn't yet used his full strength. The strange circus leader was probably equal to Grandmother Wolf and Santa Claus. He could be arrogant due to his strength, not eager to seize Tang Mo and Fu Wenduo straight away. However, I am delaying the time. Grisha raised his eyebrows. I know. It is a futile struggle. Tang Mo asked, you don't want to know why I am delaying the time. Grisha laughed. Before absolute strength, any method of delaying time has no effect. Unless, you are looking for Grandmother Wolf? Well, you do have her small parasol. But she won't meddle. It is because she loves to eat humans, especially powerful ones. Fu Wenduo stated, you are right. Any delay is useless before absolute strength. However, we aren't delaying to escape. Grisha asked curiously, is it for mercy? I won't let you go even if you pay for all my losses. You have disgraced me, with even Schrödinger knowing that I was played by 2 humans. I also foolishly paid you silver to look after that damn.ned monster. The little cat protested. Hey, I'm the great Schrödinger. It is normal for me to know this type of gossip. Tang Mo's right hand gripped the small parasol. There was the sound of bells in his ears. It wasn't the sound that came from the second hand of the truth clock or the fake clock. This sound was very bizarre. According to common sense, the second hand should continue to move forward, but this one seemed broken. It was stuck in place and shook to the left and right. Suddenly, there was a clear sound and the second hand moved forward. Tang Mo's eyes widened and his face brightened. Schrödinger was bickering with Grisha when he stopped and sat up straight. How could she come here? Grisha was stunned. The next moment, there was a violent sound. Bang! The gate of the steel fortress was kicked open. Red moonlight shone into the castle and a long shadow entered the door. Everyone looked towards the shadow and was stunned. It was a small, red-haired lily. Her hands were on her waist and she wore a beautiful dress. She stared viciously at everyone on the stairs before finally stopping on Grisha. Grisha Sykes, you.a.m.ned shameless thief. Greedy ghost, give me back my gem moon flowers. Under a moonlight, a small and delicate crown leaned to the side on the red-haired lily's head. Tang Mo took out the infinite non-probability watch. The frozen clock had finally started moving. Tang Mo, Fu Wenduo. Grisha understood the truth as he saw the infinite non-probability watch in Tang Mo's hand. The next second, he shot forward with all his strength, whose .h.I plus ng like a rocket. The Queen of Hearts rushed angrily from the door of the steel fortress. She was almost as fast as Grisha, but the door was some distance from the staircase. Grisha was already aiming his cane at Tang Mo's heart. One arm quickly blocked Tang Mo's body. The short cane penetrated the black weapon. Fu Wenduo made a pain sound while the short cane went through his arm and pierced Tang Mo's chest. Tang Mo's eyes were cold as he held back the pain and opened the small parasol to knock Grisha away. Grisha waved his cane, the cold eyes filled with the desire to kill. Grisha/Queen of Hearts, I'm going to kill you. You can also join my Discord channel to chat with fellow readers about the novels.